Hi, I'm Leonor Fuller. I practice with the Fuller & Fuller law firm. We work in the areas of personal injury law and medical malpractice law in the state of Washington. Today I'd like to talk to you about what you need to do if you have to miss time from work because you've been injured from an accident. This is an area that most people don't get advice about because it tends to happen soon after an accident, even before they've had a chance to talk to an attorney. So I thought it might be good to give you some pointers on what you should be thinking about before you have the time to get advice from an attorney. And more than likely, you're going to need to miss time from work if you've injured from an accident, either because you need to stay home and get healed up, or you simply can't do the demands of your work, or you have to go to medical appointments, which will take you away from the workplace. Either way, you should be reimbursed for the time that you've had to take away from work. But you need to prove that this happened, and you need two pieces of proof, and they both need to be in writing. The first thing you need to get is medical documentation, and this is typically called an off-work slip. So your medical provider needs to write down that you are required to stay off work because of your injuries. The second thing you need is documentation from your employer. So you need to tell your employer that you're having to miss time from work because of your injuries. Now, if you're having to miss time from work for medical appointments, typically the bills and the medical records from that medical appointment will prove that you were at the medical appointment, and often you will tell your employer that you have to leave to go to a doctor's appointment. Of greater concern is if you've had to miss 1, 2, or more days from work. And this can happen very soon. This can happen the day of the accident or the day after the accident. And typically you're in the emergency room and you may not think about this. So if you have an opportunity to get this in your mind and discuss this with the attending physician in the emergency room and request an off-work slip, then you've got that documentation right away. Many emergency room physicians do think of this and ask you about this. But if they don't, then it's something that you should bring up. Now, if you're missing time from work after the emergency room and you forgot to bring this up or this didn't come up, then you should get to the doctor right away, see your own doctor for the off-work slip, or go to an urgent care facility, just to have the days documented as days taken time off from work because of your injuries. Now, it's important to remember that if you have an off-work slip for 3 days and you're having to miss more than 3 days, then you need to keep renewing that medical leave documentation. Some of you may be able to take time off from work and use your sick leave or your vacation leave. And that's good, you can do that. But you should also be able to be reimbursed for those times that you've had to tap from your sick leave or your vacation leave. So make sure and get the same pieces of documentation. So the general idea behind this is if you have to take time off from work, don't keep it to yourself. Tell your medical provider so that it's documented in writing, and tell your employer. And in this way, you can preserve the evidence that you need to prove that the time you've had to take off work was a result of the injuries from the accident. Thanks for listening, and if you have any other questions about this issue, please feel free to call me.